guys, how's it going? So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that we got a new puppy, which is so exciting. Say hi, Bill. Hi. Say hi. Say hello. Hello to the camera. So I thought I'd share with you some of my top puppy tips if you've never had a puppy, or if you're thinking about getting a puppy, if you've always been a dog lover like myself, but especially if you haven't had one in such a long time or haven't had one at all. I thought I'd share these tips with you because I've grown up and I'd always be like, you know, an elf when he goes, good news, I saw a dog today. That was always me. So I thought I'd share these tips with you guys. I've written them down on my phone so I don't forget. So yeah, so first tip is, okay, so one of the things that I didn't know and what happened with Belle was we took her home before her last injections, and it was probably around 2 weeks before her last injections. She was 8 weeks at the time. So one of the things I would say is that if you don't have a lot of time on your hands or something like that, maybe take them home after all their injections, because what I found when before she was able to go out for walks, what I found was that she was chewing on everything. She was chewing on our baseboards, on our fireplace logs, on her coffee table, pretty much on anything she could get her hands on. So especially if you don't have like a little playpen or something like that, like it's a good place to put them so that they can have some toys and stuff like that. But we decided against the playpen or like, you know, a crate or something like that. We're not crate training her. That's completely down to you, whether you want to crate train them, whether you don't, but we didn't. So that's where I was like going a little crazy because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't get out of the house. I can't get her out and she's bored. So she's chewing on everything. So that was one of the things that I was like, okay, when she started going out for walks, oh my gosh, it made my life so much easier, because she's getting that mental stimulation from smelling all these different things, and she's getting some good exercise because we've got a pretty big backyard garden, you know? So yeah, so it was good, but not enough new stuff for her to smell and tire her out and stuff. So that's one of the things that I would say. The next one is, okay, start as you mean to go on. So we didn't get a crate. We tried to get a playpen, but then she didn't really like it at all because she had been downstairs for such a long time having free roam, you know, a few weeks. So basically start as you mean to go on. One of the things that I would say is that we had Belle sleeping downstairs rather than upstairs in our bedroom from the first night. We've got carpeted floors upstairs, and downstairs we've got wooden floors, so if she peed it would be so much easier to clean up. So we just thought we're gonna leave her downstairs. And actually, she's such a good doggy. She barely ever, like, you know, she doesn't really cry that much. She whines a little bit when we go upstairs if she's not tired. She's kind of like, but I don't like this. I don't want you guys to go upstairs. But it would only last for literally like 5 to 10 seconds, and then she'd just go to bed. So it was really good. She didn't have any puppy shrieks, because I know that a lot of other dogs do, you know, they shriek at night and stuff like that. So that's completely down to you. If you want them to stay in your bedroom, do it as you mean to go on. When they're a dog, and like a fully grown adult dog is what I mean to say, then where are they gonna sleep? What do you have in place now that like you'll want them to do in the future? Don't change stuff around. Like if you don't want them biting on your coffee table, don't let them bite on your coffee table as a puppy, because they're gonna think it's okay. So just do things the way that you mean for it to be in the future. I know it's hard sometimes. Like I hate hearing her whine because I'm just like, oh, my little puppy. But it's literally for like 10 seconds and she'll get used to it. And she is used to it now. She doesn't cry at all when we go upstairs to sleep at night anymore. So, you know, that's just one of the things I would recommend. Start as you mean to go on. Another thing is, okay, lots of toys. Toys? I saw the chew. Oh, so that, yeah. Anyways, so lots of toys. Somebody that I would recommend, one of their training videos is Simpatico Dog Training. I'll link it down below. But it's definitely helped me with learning what kind of toys she needs, especially chew toys. Oh my gosh, I just can't say that. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Chew toys. But I always have chew toys around for them. Kong toys, I'm gonna just lead on to that one. That is amazing. Train your dog to like them. If they don't like them straight away, if they don't like the Kong toy straight away, then train them to like it. It's not what it is, but it's what you train it to be. So essentially, if you don't know what a Kong toy is, A Kong toy is kind of like a puzzle toy, so it makes them, so it's kind of like, you can get different sizes of them. I'll put a picture up here, but yeah, essentially you put stuff, you fill it inside with stuff with food, so that they kind of have to work to get it out, and it's good for mental stimulation, etc. So it is just so good. So what we do is we put her kibble, her food, inside the Kong toy, and now she loves her Kong toy. Immediately when I pick it up, she's like, oh my gosh, Kong toy. So yeah, so I recommend that one. But watch Simpatico dog trainings, Simpatico dog training, talking about the toys, because it just, yeah, it definitely helped me a lot. The next thing is start training right away. One of the things that Nathan mentioned when he went back home to see his family for a couple of days in Belfast, his sister has a dog called Poppy, and he noticed that she was really well trained when it came to her food. She would always get in her bed and she would not move until they said go. Or when they were having food, etc. So they kind of trained her into not getting out of her bed until they say go, which is awesome. So what we started to do is we tell her to sit, we tell her to stay, and then I put the food down, I leave her for a couple seconds to look at her so that she starts getting self-control, and then I say go, and that's when she goes. It is so good. But yeah, so start training right away. Stuff like sit, come, stay, those are really good ones to start training with right away. And yeah, it's better for them so that they learn quicker now than you trying to train them in the future. Okay, another thing I would say is don't let them off the leash yet, because Bella's just so not ready. She would run in front of a car if she saw something flying that she's like, oh my gosh, I want to get it. So don't let them off the leash yet. Nathan is letting her out in the park when there's no dogs around, when there's nobody else around, because it's an enclosed park. She can't go anywhere. But he's training her to come when he calls by giving her some treats, saying, Belle, come, and then she'll come and she'll know that she's got a treat. So essentially, you know, don't let them off the leash yet. They're not ready. They're still babies. So the next thing I would say is, yeah, so like I said before, taking them out for walks for mental stimulation is actually amazing, because right now, Belle is chilling downstairs. She is, you know, she's kind of wrecked. I took her out for a walk this morning, and then I took her to the vet, but now she's just kind of like, okay, so much mental stimulation, I'm tired now. So yes, that's one of the, I take her out for 2 walks a day, probably, sometimes 3 if we've got the time, but they're all quite short. They're not like an hour long each. It's probably around like, I'd say maybe 20 minutes in the morning and then 20 minutes in the afternoon / evening, you know. I think in the summer we'll probably take her out for walks more, because when it's cold you're just kind of like, I don't really want to go out when it's pitch black, and she doesn't love pitch black either. So yeah, although she doesn't mind it when she's asleep. So we used to turn on the night light, but she actually doesn't mind so much. The next thing is, again, I learned this from Simpatico dog training. He talked about how dogs, you know, they're den animals. So one of the things that I would always find is Belle going underneath the coffee table. We did have a sheepskin rug there. We took it out because she basically destroyed it by peeing on it and, like, you know, loving it a little bit too much. So that's another one of the things I would say is anything that you don't want ruined, don't like leave downstairs or wherever the dog can be, or like in reach of the dog, you know. But yeah, she loved going underneath the coffee table, and she loves going underneath the couch and anywhere that's kind of more closed and like tightened, you know. So we put her little bed next to the couch because it seems a little bit cozier where it is and stuff. So if you find your dog somewhere where you're like, I don't understand why they always go there, they are den animals. So find a nice cozy space for them that they'll feel like nice and enclosed and they're kind of like snuggly and stuff. Okay, so another thing that I would say is to discipline them. Start disciplining them right away. They need to know what they can and can't do. You can't just let them keep chewing on stuff and then all of a sudden turn it around and be like, no, you can't do this. Like, you have to catch them in the act and do it straight away. One of the things that the vet recommended to me was a water spray. That was apparently a good way for her to teach. And so essentially she said to me, you know, spray them after they've done it. Say no and spray them, but look away as if they don't kind of attach it to you, because Belle doesn't really like baths at the moment. So I think the water spray might work really well. And we give her a little tap on the nose as well, like no. So we tell her no, and she, especially when the way we do our voices, sometimes we're like, Belle, and she's like, okay, I shouldn't be doing this, and she's learning, you know, so it's really good. Because I was like, she's so cute, I don't want to tell her off, but if you don't tell her off for biting and stuff like that, she'll think it's okay in the future, and it might be cute now, but it's not going to be cute in the future. So yeah, another thing that I would say is, so I talked to the vet today. The breeder gave us so many different foods for her to have, and it was actually going to be quite expensive moving forward. So one of the things that the vet said is wean them out of any puppy nuggets or chicken or anything like that, and get them to only dry dog food. So we would use James Well Beloved, and that has cut our budget from $50 to $60 a month on her food alone down to about $20 to $25 a month, which is actually amazing. So dry dog food is much less expensive. Buy in bulk if you can. If they've got like right now, Pets at Home are doing a buy one get one half off offer, so that's what I used. I was like, I'm just gonna get a couple extra because I don't want to pay you know, the same price. I want to get the buy one get one half off now while the deal is still running, because it lasts such a long time, you know. So yeah, so that's one of the things I would recommend. And then last but not least, so this is where one of the things that I was like, oh, their life revolves around you. Your life does not revolve around them. Because sometimes Belle would be downstairs and I'd be a little like, I don't want you to be downstairs by yourself. I hear you whining, I hear you like crying a little bit. She would only whine for like a little bit, not even that long, but that would be like, oh, I don't even want to come upstairs. I don't even want to clean. I don't even want to do anything because I don't want to hear her cry. But essentially, their life revolves around you. You've got to start cleaning. You got to do laundry. You've got to move on with your life. It doesn't revolve around them. It's not all about them, even though you're tempted to do that, because I definitely was. You know, Nathan is a lot better with that, because I just feel like he's happy to go upstairs and, you know, get his stuff or do whatever he needs to do, whereas I was always a little like, oh no, I don't want to hear her cry. But yeah, essentially, their life revolves around you, not the other way around. So make sure you remember that, especially if you get stressed out with your puppy. Also, it's gonna be okay. That is actually probably the last thing I was gonna say. It's gonna be okay. The first couple of weeks were so hard with Belle for me. Like, I genuinely was like crying for like 2 straight weeks. I was just like, I found it so hard because she was like a newborn child and I still had to work and so much was going on that I was just like, oh my gosh. But it gets better. It gets so much better. Especially when she was going out for walks and getting all that mental stimulation. Like, I literally love Belle. She is the sweetest, she's the cutest, and yeah, so that's the last thing I would say. It gets better, it gets better, and I know that it's gonna get even better, you know, when she's like 6 months, or when she's an adult at 1 year, you know, so just hang in there, because they just add and bring so much joy to our lives. So I thought I'd share my new puppy tips with you, and feel free to comment or DM me on Instagram or anything like that if you're kind of like, I don't really know. And yeah, so that's what I would recommend. And yeah, so you're welcome to talk to me and just let me know if you have any questions or anything like that. But yeah, that's about it. Bye, love you all.